What if I told you that everything you think you know about red teaming is wrong? Are the so-called experts teaching cybersecurity lying to you? Their dangerous misinformation could get you caught, fired, or even arrested. Get ready to see the raw truth about red teaming. I've spent many years working in the shadows as a red team operator on client projects. I'm not sharing theories or guesses. I'm giving you facts that I've proven in real-world operations. This is exactly what works and what makes true professionals different from beginners. I will be exposing 10 myths in total in this video series. Myths 1 to 5 in this video, which will be part 1, and myths 6 to 10 in part 2 in the next video. Keep watching, because while these first 5 foundational myths will make you ineffective as an operator, the next 5 operational myths in part 2 could actually get you arrested, and myth number 7 could save your career or even from serious legal trouble. Hi operators, welcome to the channel. I'm HaxrByte. I'm a red team operator, penetration tester, and ethical hacker with over 20 years of work experience in cybersecurity. In today's video, I'll share some surprising truths about what goes on behind the scenes. Big companies pay me to test if their security processes work or not. My job is to try to get into places I'm not supposed to be, like big company buildings and government sites. Don't worry, they asked me to do this. It's my job to show them where bad guys might get in. The red team industry is filled with misconceptions. They say these things so much, they start to believe these ideas are true. This is part 1 of a 2-part series. Today I reveal 5 foundational myths, details about what red teaming is. In part 2, I'm exposing the operational myths that get people arrested, sued, or blacklisted from the industry. By the end of this 2-part video series, you'll grasp red teaming like 95% of security pros do not. The last myth completely contradicts everything you've heard about running a red team engagement. So let's separate fact from fiction and dive into the first 5 myths. Myth number 1. Red teaming is just advanced penetration testing. The first myth we need to address is that red teaming is just a fancy name for penetration testing. Nothing could be further from the truth. Here's why. First, let's talk about scope. A penetration tester is like a building inspector, checking and focusing on specific things like electrical wiring or building foundation. They look closely at the different systems or networks. But a red team, we're more like special forces operators. We look at the entire organization as our playground. Physical security? Fair game. Social engineering? Absolutely. Digital attacks? You bet. We use everything at our disposal, just like real attackers would. Now, methodology. This is where it gets interesting. Penetration testers usually follow a playbook. They check known vulnerabilities, mark boxes, and document their findings. It's a step-by-step process. It's thorough and it's predictable. Red teams, we're like water. We flow through the path of least resistance. We chain attacks together. We pivot between systems. We exploit human psychology. We think creatively, because that's exactly what a real attacker would do. But here's the biggest difference. Objectives. A penetration tester's job is to find every single vulnerability they can. It's like trying to find every crack in the wall. But in red teaming, we have a specific mission and specific objectives. Maybe we need to access the CEO's email. Maybe we need to reach the core internal network. Maybe we need to extract sensitive data. No matter the goal, we'll mix tactics to reach it quickly, just like real threat actors in the real world. Attackers don't seek every vulnerability. They only need one way in. But here's what nobody tells you about real red teaming operations that makes them fundamentally different. Speaking of which, This leads us directly to the second biggest misconception. Myth number 2. Technical skills are all you need. Think being a red team operator is all about lead hacking skills. Think again. Some of my most successful breaches never involved touching a computer. Let me share a quick story that perfectly illustrates this point. Last year, I was hired to test a really big company's security. I spent a week watching how their employees worked. I didn't start with network scans or trying to exploit anything. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m., they have catering delivered for their executive meetings. One Wednesday, I showed up in a delivery uniform, carrying 3 boxes of donuts and a clipboard. The security guard barely glanced at me. After all, I matched the pattern they were used to seeing. I entered their executive suite and set down the donuts. Everyone enjoyed the treats. I plugged a small device into the Ethernet port under the conference table. Within minutes, I had more access than a week of technical attacks could give me. Not a single line of code was needed, just understanding human behavior, patterns, and psychology. The company's CTO was in the room enjoying a donut while I compromised their network. Now, did I need advanced technical skills to execute this? No. What I needed was patience, observation skills, and understanding of human psychology. That's what real red teaming looks like. The reality is that the most dangerous red teamers are masters of human psychology first, and technical experts second. But if technical skills aren't everything, what is? You might be surprised when we get to myth number 5. But first, myth number 3. The goal is to find all vulnerabilities. If you think red teaming is about creating a comprehensive list of every vulnerability in the system, you've already failed. Let me explain why this is such a critical misconception. Many people believe red teaming focuses on finding all vulnerabilities. They think it means creating a huge list of problems and giving it to the client. But that's actually what pen testing is for. Red teaming has a completely different objective. Consider this. Real attackers don't worry about spotting every flaw in your system. They're looking for just one way in, just one path to their objective. That's exactly what we emulate. We're not making an encyclopedia of vulnerabilities. We're here to show you how a real attacker could compromise your organization. Here's a great example. Recently, we found 2 entry points into a client's network. It was a complicated technical flaw. Exploiting it would have taken weeks. The other, a simple phishing email that got us in within hours. Guess which one a real attacker would choose? That's right, the path of least resistance. Our goal is to simulate or emulate realistic attacks and think like an adversary. We want to see how well your Security Operations Center, SOC, also known as Blue Team, can spot problems, handle incidents, and keep things secure in real life. We want to know, can you detect us? Can you stop us? Can you recover from our attacks? These are the questions that matter in actual security incidents. Remember, a real attacker only needs to be right once. Your security needs to be right every time. We focus on key paths that might lead to compromise. We don't list every vulnerability. This is where most red team exercises go completely off the rails. The true objective is something entirely different, which brings us to myth number 4. Red teams and blue teams are adversaries. One of the most dangerous myths is that red teams and blue teams are enemies. The adversarial mindset is toxic and counterproductive. Red teams and blue teams may seem like enemies, but they are actually partners. We both aim for the same goal. In hospitals, you have 2 groups: surgeons who cut people and people who fight germs. They care for the patients in different ways, but they both aim to save lives. It's the same in cybersecurity. I've seen many organizations where red teams play gotcha with the blue team. They try to embarrass their colleagues instead of working together. And blue teams sometimes view red teamers as arrogant, show-offs trying to make them look bad. This kind of toxic drama completely misses the point. The reality is we're all on the same side. Red teamers create the threats, blue teams then improve the detection and response skills. When we breach a system, we don't aim to show the blue team failed. Instead, we want to find gaps before real attackers do. When blue teams detect and stop our attacks, that's a win for everyone. The best red team engagements I've been in had great teamwork with blue teams afterwards. We sit down together and share our methodologies and work on improving defenses. It's not about winning or losing. It's about making the organization more secure. Remember, real attackers don't share their playbooks or help improve your defenses. That's what makes red teaming such a valuable training tool. I once worked with a company where this myth caused. Wait until you hear how this situation played out when we get to myth number 8. For now, let's address a common misconception about tools. Myth number 5. You need expensive custom tools. Think you need a budget of thousands for custom exploits and proprietary tools? Wrong. Some of the most effective red teamers I know use primarily open source tools. The most successful red teamers I know don't rely on expensive tools or custom exploits. This might surprise you. They use mostly open source tools that anyone can download. But here's the key difference. They understand these tools inside out. Consider this. Just because you give someone pricey power tools doesn't mean they'll be a great carpenter. What matters is understanding the basics. You need to know which tool to use and when. Understanding why it works, and most importantly, know what to do when it doesn't. The same applies to red teaming. Teams with big budgets can still fail. They often rely too much on automated tools and overlook the basic methods. I've seen skilled operators break into secure systems. They use simple tools and a deep understanding of how systems work. This is what separates true red teamers from script kiddies. Methodology over technology. It's not just about fancy tools. It's about knowing attack paths, system links, and human behavior. A master chef can turn simple ingredients into a great meal, but an amateur might spoil the best ingredients. Red teaming is no different, but tools are useless without proper, which is exactly what myth number 7 gets completely backward. Part 2 of this series drops very soon, and that's where things get real. Myth number 7? That's the one about documentation that literally saved me when a client tried to sue me for $2 million after I exposed their security failures. I can't tell you that full story in this video, but it's waiting for you in part 2. Here's what you need to do right now. If you're watching this after part 2 is already out, you will see it on the screen here. Alternatively, you can find the link in the description and pinned in the first comment. Please go and watch it immediately. Thank you for watching. I'm HaxrByte. I'll see you in the ghost shell.